Welcome to another edition of Reflections. Our guest today is Jack
Manning.
Jack Manning, excuse me,
Right.
who, along with myself, play in various musical groups in the city of Beverly and have been for a number of years. Jack has been good enough to go on the program today. We appreciate it, Jack.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here with you, Fred.
Jack, since Beverly is such an insular place, you were born and raised in New York City.
Yes, indeed.
And you want to talk a little bit about your childhood?
Oh, yes. I lived at the towards the very end of the independent rapid transit line that ended on Broadway at 242nd Street, and I lived in an apartment all my life, and nobody in my family owned a house before I did, and it was a very interesting life. You had your dime. Your mother would make you a tuna fish sandwich, and you would walk down to the subway. Actually, it was an elevated line, and go spend the day at the American Museum of Natural History or something like that. It was a lot of fun growing up in New York City in the 40s and early 50s.
Graduated from?
From All Hallows Institute, which is a Catholic school in the South Bronx, and then went on to college with the same religious order that taught at All Hallows, and that was in New Rochelle, New York.
Name of it?
Oh, I'm terribly sorry, Iona. It's Iona. And everybody says, "How nice for you." Probably didn't have to pay any tuition.
Well, I'm familiar with Iona being a track coach. We used to go down to New York City and run. Yeah,
that's right. Yes, did you run in Van Cortlandt Park?
No, we're talking indoor track.
So indoor track.
Indoor.
Oh, okay.
Can't remember the venue except for Madison Square Garden, but
Yeah,
Iona was always a presence.
Oh yes.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
That's good to hear.
What was your major?
Accounting. And you'll find that if you want a boring guy, I'm it. I majored in accounting.
What drew you to accounting other than you like math?
No, I didn't particularly like math, but my father said, "You got a scholarship," and I said, "Yeah, but I wanted to go to Manhattan and be an engineer like you." And he said, "You got a scholarship. You're going where you got the scholarship." So that was very. So I thought, I said, "Yeah, all right." He'd probably throw me out of the house if I didn't take the scholarship.
But what does accounting have to do with the scholarship?
Well, I was a Christian Brothers boy, and I won the scholarship by taking an exam for all the kids that gone to Christian Brothers schools in New York, and I did well in it.
In what way do you think a Catholic education is a good thing and it's helped you?
All right, as going to a Catholic college, all of us, whether Catholic, Protestant, Jewish, had to take philosophy and theology courses, and it was very interesting because later on in my life I wound up working as an accountant at Gordon Conwell Seminary in Hamilton, and it was very interesting because a lot of the kids had been to Bible schools and so on, but they had not taken philosophy or those courses. And I used to recommend to them, I said, "When you guys get out of here and you become college presidents," I said, "make sure that all your students take philosophy and theology."
Wasn't it offered up at Gordon Conwell?
At Gordon Conwell it was.
Yeah.
But at many of the schools, they were Bible colleges, and they taught the Bible beautifully.
So we're talking undergraduates.
We're talking undergraduate, yeah.
Now, you ended up meeting a Lynn girl.
Uh-huh.
And her name was?
Dolores Malhowski, and everybody called her Laurie. And she sang with the chorale at Emmanuel College in the Back Bay. And she was quite a talented musician, and therein lies another tale. Could go I met a girl when we were up here for an exchange concert, and my friend Roger also met a girl while we were up here, and we decided to go dancing, so we drove all the way up from New York City, and I was staying at what was then a hotel, the Kenmore, and now I think it's a dorm.
BU.
Yeah. So I got a knock on my door that evening, and I let Roger and his date in, and she was the most beautiful girl I ever saw in my entire life. She was gorgeous, and she was fun and had a good sense of humor, and besides, the other girl that I dated that evening didn't much care for me. Hey, these things happen.
For a reason.
For a reason, I guess, yeah. So
you met her in an exchange concert.
Yep.
You were singing also, or you were playing?
I was playing my trombone, and therein lies another tale.
And so what happened after that first meeting?
Well, she came down to New York. Roger was a cadet officer in the Air Force ROTC at Manhattan. And she stayed at his grandmother's house, and they went to the military ball and ta-da. And about 3 weeks down the road, I get a call. And it was a woman, didn't recognize the voice. And so she said, "Oh, this is Laurie." Laurie who? So she said, "I left my rosary at Roger's grandmother's house, and he said that he wouldn't mail it to me. He wanted me to come down for another military ball." And I said, "Okay." And my role in all this is, and she said, "Could you get it back for me?" So I said, "Okay," did it. It took us a while, but we eventually, I wound up holding her rosary in my hand. And I called her and I said, "I've got it." And she says, "Okay, I'll give you my address. You can mail it to me." And I said, "Well, would you mind if I hand delivered it?" So I get one of these dead silences. And then she said, "Okay." So she gave me directions and blah, blah. And up I came.
Now, you came to this area because you had lost your job in New York City.
That's right, yeah.
And you figured if your family had moved to the West Coast, so therefore you'd come up here with her and be near her family.
Yes, yeah, she...
And look for a job.
And look for a job once I got up here. Yeah. Yes, the New England girls, I don't know if you've noticed this, but they tend to like to come home.
Good.
And
must be a reason.
What?
There must be a reason.
There must be, I think. I know she was very, very close to her mother and father. Her dad owned a machine shop in Lynn, and her mom was a housewife, you know. She really, her face just lit up when I said, let's go find a place in Massachusetts.
Now, why did you come to Ralph's side? And why didn't you settle in Lynn?
Okay, well, I arrived here. There was a newspaper strike in New York. B, there was a newspaper strike in Massachusetts. And so I said, well, let's see if we can find a job. So I went with an agency, and the guy that was trying to find me a job was from Yonkers, and I said, I'd like to get a place on the North Shore, if you can have anything. And he said, well, how about Taunton? And I said, North Shore, could I?
That's a long ways.
Yes. And I said, where are you from? He says, oh, I'm from Yonkers. And I said, Taunton and Fall River and all the other places you've suggested are on the other side of Boston.
So knowledge of geography helps.
Yes. So he called, and I said, and after a while he kept trying to send me down the South Shore, and I finally said, I don't ever want to hear from you again. I said, so hang up, you know. And he said, well, how about Beverly? But that's not on the North Shore, is it?
Good.
Okay. I said, I'll go for the interview and we'll see what happens. So I interviewed with Don McCormick and with, what the heck's the other guy's name? Well, it doesn't really matter because they're both, one's retired and one of them's dead. So
This was at the United Shoe.
this was at the United Shoe. And after talking, they apparently found nothing against me. Checking back into my work record in New York, they didn't get any bad noises that they didn't like. So I started in the A3 office at the United Shoe as a senior cost accountant.
And how'd that work out?
Worked out very well. I enjoyed working at the United Shoe. It was a very interesting place. And my wife says, "You sure this is a good idea?" And I said, "Well, people have to wear shoes. You know, we're not going to send our troops off to war barefoot, are we now?" That could happen, but no. So
what was it like working in a building?
it was a lot of stairs to climb. There were some elevators available. And I met a lot of people who had started with the United Shoe before the World War II. And talking to them was fascinating and funny. There was a good friend of mine who had been a messenger boy on roller skates before you knew about that, didn't you? And you do not cut through the A0123 officers, and so but they all used to cut through, and if they got caught, they were in deep trouble. So what he did is he came roller skating through, and as he came into the A1 office, the clerk of the works, who always had a beard and a bowler hat, came walking towards him. So he said, I put my head down, I ran right into him, and I knocked him flat, and his bowler hat got pushed down over his eyes. And he says, and I took off in the opposite direction. And he said the guy's lying on the floor with his hat jammed over his eyes saying, "Find out who that kid was and fire him." But they never did.
Now you went from United Shoe to American Shoe.
American Shoe. I transferred into the Boston office.
Did you work in that great big building in Boston?
What a beautiful what is that, Art Deco,
Yes,
I guess they call it. Oh, gorgeous.
Yeah.
Gorgeous.
Still
bronze
there.
doors and everything. It's still there, but somebody else owns it, I'm pretty sure.
Right.
But I worked in there for a couple of years, and then when they were ordered to take some, give away some of their business, I went as accounting manager with American Shoe Machinery, which was the spin-off company. And that was very interesting, too. Nice bunch of guys. And I learned more about the shoe business there because they never really let us accountants stick our noses into the manufacturing part of the business. I mean, we kept records and so on, but it was great at American. And nice bunch of people.
Now, American Shoe was located where?
It was then located in Wakefield. From Wakefield, we moved to Woburn, and then I left with another company. I had a couple of jobs in between, and
Eventually came back to the Cummings Center.
They're in the Cummings Center right now, and a young man, an engineer, who was a fine guy, a nice guy. His name is Skonecki. They're from Ryleside.
Told me
He's
that.
the president.
Yeah. That name rings a bell to me, too.
Oh, yes. The Skoneckis are an old family in the area.
Now, you moved to Ryleside, obviously meant you were near the Shoe.
Yes.
You still live in the same house.
I still live in the same house.
And what's the address now?
14 Sylvester Avenue.
Okay. And you like living in Ryleside?
Yes.
And your impression of Ryleside and Beverly when you first got here?
It was a working class, but nice, but really nice neighborhood. There were, when I got to the neighborhood, the business of I got get to know the people, and it's just such a welcoming community. I always liked Ryleside, and I still like Ryleside. The house is more than I need at the moment. My wife died 7 years ago, and the kids are all married and off and away.
You had 4 children.
Had 4 children.
One sadly died in high school.
Yes, yeah, he hit a pothole out on 128, and it launched them over the median strip into the path of some cars who were coming home during the rush hour. And he was killed, and...
Now, Peter was a musician like you.
Peter was a musician like me, and
he played the trombone also?
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
That was so funny. He came to me in 5th grade, and he said, "Dad, would you mind if I played the trombone?" And I said, "What, are you trying to make your old man feel good?" No, I'll explain to you, but not now. So Peter was short. He took after my wife's side of the family. He was about 5'5", 5'6", something like that. And he had a lot of friends that were starting to get involved in music. I don't know, there's the Rob Corneau was a very close friend of his.
Very good trombone player.
Dang tootin' he was, yes. And so he and Rob went in together, and it was just so much fun watching them come along as musicians.
Good.
And
of course, Beverly has a good music program.
Beverly had and still has a wonderful music program between Larry and they were the people I knew, and Ray.
Ray Novak. Sure.
Yeah, they great people. I remember my daughter saying to me, the baby, she's 36 now, the baby, and she said, she says, we like to do a job on some of the other teachers. She says, but we can't fool around with Novi. He's like one of us.
Well, I think we're blessed.
Yes, we certainly are, and we succeeded in keeping a good arts program when an awful lot of other high school school programs got wiped out.
And we're filming here, Jack, in the brand new high school. And right behind us is the old auditorium and music room. Oh, yeah. Both of which are expanded and renovated.
Yeah,
so
it's really
it's the old auditorium, but with all sorts of new features. So,
yes. Yeah. I'm going to have to definitely get down for... I haven't got any kids at the school anymore, but I'm going to have to get down here and see what they're doing.
You and I both play in the Dane Street Concert Band, Dane Street Church.
That is right, yes.
And I was telling you earlier that I had given up playing the saxophone for 20 years or so, and was encouraged to go back into that band by a mutual friend, Roddy McLean.
Yeah.
And you joined...
Vinny DeFazio was the principal trombone, and here was a guy who never smoked a day in his life, and he died of lung cancer. Yeah. And he was getting worse and worse, and they asked me if I would play, and I said, "Well, gee, I don't know. I don't want to take anybody's chair." But they said, "Well, Vinny's not well." So, and I had played with Vinny for years with the Advocates Dance Band. That's as AVOCATES, as an avocation or hobby. And we're not a bunch of lawyers.
And you still
and we did have a few lawyers, yes, and I still play with them.
Still play with them, yeah. And this picture here, if we can show it, is the Dane Street saxophone section. And I'm, of course, in the front, and next is Ken Savory,
who was the front man for the Advocates.
Is the manager for the Advocates, and Joanne Thrasher, who plays over in Peabody in the big band.
Yep. Yeah. And Sherry is from the west of the state, and she's moved back to the west to live with her folks after the economy took a turn.
And we play at Asbury Grove in a couple of nights.
Yeah, that's
and we'll be playing a Christmas concert at Dane Street Church.
That's right, and it's a nice place for. It has very good acoustics.
Well, we're such a big group, Jack.
Yeah.
We need a big hall.
Yeah, we do.
This is an old picture I brought in today of my band, the Dreamlanders, in 1952-53 at Briscoe, the old Beverly High School. And, of course, all of these people were Beverly High School people, with the exception of the trumpet player in the back, who's from Lynn. But on the far left is Arthur Mercereau, Richard Chick, Leslie Sigmund, myself, Arthur Bauer, Bruce Sharp at piano, my cousin John Seliger in the back playing trumpet, and Rock Wheeler playing drums. One of the reasons I'm showing this is I play in the R&R band at the Senior Center every Tuesday morning, and Jack is there every Tuesday morning. He sometimes plays in the band and sometimes listens. But, and we at BevCan are talking about filming them, Jack.
That would be a very good idea.
And it is a wonderful Tuesday morning where we have 15 men, all in their 70s or 80s, right? 90s, the trumpet player.
Some younger.
And 40 to 50 dancers.
Anyway.
Yeah. Who come from all over, and everything's free. The music is donated, and the people who come don't pay anything.
Yeah.
Cup of coffee and a lunch afterwards.
Yep.
They want.
Yep. It's a very nice morning, and the nice thing about it being in the some people say you have to dance in the morning.
That's true.
And I
That's
say,
true.
well, a lot of those people can't see well enough after dark to
And
drive there.
And don't want to drive. That's right. The other reason for showing that picture of the Dreamland Dance Band is once in a while we play the same exact music
Yes.
that we played in 1952,
Yeah.
53.
Is that your book that we're working on?
No, it isn't.
Is it Rogers?
Not that I know of.
Okay.
But, there must be 20 songs that are the same arrangements.
Oh, I see stuff that I played in high school.
So the music lives on, Jack.
Yeah,
you
it's swing music
Yeah.
from the 30s, 40s, 50s, early 50s.
Now, what's your favorite kind of music, so?
You really want an honest answer on that one?
Sure.
I love symphonic work. I did play. I was principal trombone with the Essex County Symphony for several years, and then we ran out of violins, and that's a long story. You don't want to know about it. Well.
It's not the North Shore Philharmonic. That's
No. This is not the North Shore
Yeah,
Phil. This is one that used to be the Tri-Town Symphony, and they rehearsed at Masconoma.
So that's John Finnegan.
Yeah, he was their first director, and it was another good group. The thing I like about symphonic stuff is you're so exposed. If somebody messes up, everybody knows exactly who did.
Well, we're fortunate, Jack. We have the Cape Ann Symphony.
Yes.
We have the North Shore Philharmonic.
Yep.
Even though the Essex County no longer exists.
Yeah. Well, we gave what we told. We didn't. It wasn't a total loss, though. We gave all the music to the North Shore Youth Symphony Orchestra with John, not Finnegan, Jerry Dolan in Ipswich.
Oh, they're good.
Oh, he is a great guy. I played several concerts with him, but he prefers to have the high school kids do the playing. So I lay back, and every once in a while I give him a call. You going to need any trombone players? You know. But Mr. Dolan, I think he studied in England and in Germany, and just a great group to play with.
Ipswich Public Schools has a very, very good music program.
Yes. I'm surprised he hasn't burned out, but that happens.
I had a granddaughter graduate there
Oh, cool.
a few years ago, and I went to the graduation. I was very impressed with both the choral and the instrumental.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is there a separate person doing choral up there? Because I only met Jerry.
And so both Beverly and Ipswich as specific examples.
Yeah, Larry Druin spoke very highly of Mr. Dolan, so he was quite impressed with it.
Larry will fill in occasionally at our R&R band.
Yeah,
And,
and with the Advocates also. Yeah. He's now he's living on the North Shore again. He had moved down south for a while.
And John Evans plays
Oh yeah,
with us.
yeah. He was the head of the music program in Peabody. There's quite a few, but you don't have to be a professional.
That's true.
You just kind of playing with the Dane Street group. It's so people from all over the place.
And everybody's welcome.
Yeah, yeah.
And what I like, and as we're going into concerts, you will probably agree, if we're missing 2 or 3 people, it doesn't seem to matter.
Well,
We have enough good people to fill in.
Yes, yeah.
We have Gil Norwood playing the whistle.
Oh, among other things, that was the thing that was so great. It's he was. I don't know if he took care of your kids when they were pediatrics age, but he took care of all 4 of mine.
Well, Gil was my previous interview in this program.
Oh, wonderful. Okay.
But just the other night, he plays trumpet in the Dane Street Concert Band. And just the other night, we're missing a few of our percussion people for this concert coming up. Hey, Gil, play the whistle. So for 2 rehearsals, he's playing the police whistle.
Yes. Yeah.
But it just seems as though we can fill in pretty well if somebody's out,
Yeah. Yeah, but there's always room for more.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of it.
If we had everybody there, we're close to 60 musicians.
Yeah, yeah.
But in the actual concerts, I don't think we've ever gone off
50, 55.
I was going to say 52, 3. Yeah.
Yeah.
But still a lot of musicians.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they're all different, and we have a great range in ages. As a guy once said about a group he played with, he says we range in age from 12 to death. And
I guess the oldest member of the Dane Street Band is probably George Lodge in his 80s.
yeah,
Yeah. And we have several high school kids that sit in.
yeah.
Yeah.
And some middle school kids too. Some of those flutists are middle school. So it's just wonderful. We get people of all ages making music together and enjoying it.
And the thing that, for the people in the audience outside, we rehearse every week.
Yep.
Some of these bands that you hear, not to be critical,
No, of course not.
they get together and they play a concert.
Yeah. Yeah.
So one of the reasons I think we do sound quite good is that Avard Rushton, who's our director now,
Yep.
and who was our director before Avard?
Bob Friedel.
Bob Friedel, who directed us for almost 30 years, do an excellent job.
It's always been a good time since I've been down there. I was somewhat reluctant, as I said earlier. I was somewhat reluctant to come down because I didn't want to take away somebody's chair, and I didn't.
Not a problem. Yeah. You enjoyed Gordon Conwell.
Very much, yes. I worked up there
Being
for.
a good Catholic, you enjoyed.
Well,
Gordon
you gotta,
Conwell.
it helps you to learn. You learn something new, and I did. I worked with an awful lot of really good people up there, and I learned a lot more about evangelicals than I ever thought I would know. I was very blessed.
Now, you mentioned to me, and we're running out of time, so it's going to be a quick answer. The number of students who go there is, roughly?
Oh, I have no idea.
But you have 3 campuses.
Yeah, we have. Yeah.
You were telling me one day.
Yeah. We have 3 campuses. I would guess they probably have several hundred scattered among the campuses. So it's a fine school, and it's very definitely it's a seminary.
Sure.
But the people who come out of there, Billy Graham and J. Howard Pugh, wanted to do something specific to improve the level of education of some of the evangelical pastors. They said, because how can they teach the people if they don't know? And that was it. That was the start of it.
Well, Jack, thank you for coming in.
Thank you so much for having me on.
You're always an entertaining fellow.
Well, I hope I have.
And always come up with something different when I talk with you.
Oh, yes.
So we'll continue to play music, the two of us.
Yes,
along
sir.
with many others.
Yes.